I'm the scat man. I'm the scat man.
What's up, bud? Welcome to NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction. On Covers, X, YouTube, we're here. Good morning to the pumpers. Pump up those likes. Let's go. Your job this week was to share. We supply the winners. You supply the engagement.
Nice.
Let's go.
Is that not the best intro in sports right there that we just have for our show?
Oh,
especially
yeah.
coming off of a night that we did llast night.
Big night.
Big night.
Big midnight pee-pee walk. That's what that was.
It was.
Yeah, right? You're like, oh, I guess I'll look. I'll see. Oh,
it was.
Another 100
a
goals in a San Jose Nashville game.
It was 10 o'clock, and I'm like, do I stay up to start to watch the game, or do I get a good night's
10:30
sleep?
start, too.
Yeah, so closed my eyes, shut her down, woke up in the middle of the night, looked at my phone. I saw 6-5, and I'm like, oh, baby. I looked at the stat sheet. Yep. What'd you call it?
The octet.
The octet.
Yeah.
Hits.
Yeah.
Yes. 35-1, baby.
Yeah. I wish I played. But I mean, we still got the Smith and Eklund. No, Smith and Zetterlund was that one we gave out plus 375. That was a good one. There was a lot going that we could have hit too. Like Riley Smith had 2 points, but Will Cooley had 0 points. That could have been a big one. We missed a big one without a Josh Doan point. The Tomas Hertl empty net goal that was reviewed was a massive swing.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on, and things we've learned. Brady Tkachuk and the Ottawa offense is broken.
Struggling.
Explain it to me, because you talked about it on the show today. How do you go from his production to just donuts weeks at a time right now? How is that possible?
It's not just him, it's their team. Jingles, did you hear the stat that I shared all morning? The Ottawa Senators have been shut out 5 times in the month of January, not just in the season. That's something that happens over a season for some teams. This is in 1 month. Like, that's unheard of. And everybody talks about their goaltending. Their goaltending is actually giving them a chance.
Yeah, the only thing.
Like, their offense has gone completely dry, and then they'll have a game where they'll score 6 goals. Crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. You see teams like Detroit who kind of went through a little slump there, not scoring, and then one good matchup versus Montreal. Okay, get your 4-pack, move on, and don't dwell in it. But Ottawa's just living in the pits of 2-1 games. Like, outside of that, it's funny because they had that, the 6-5 game on Saturday versus Boston. But outside of that, like, it's just been an absolute dumpster fire. And I apologize for trying to get a little value with Giroux and Tkachuk, but no more with that team.
No, definitely not.
All right, chat. Let me know what you're betting on today.
And they play the Leafs tomorrow. Battle of Ontario.
Oh, God. We better clip that and just drag Ottawa through the mud. Don't mind that. No, what did we clip? What did we clip this week? We clipped Marner for the Art Ross. We clipped Schaefer. He liked my video.
Sure.
Did you see that? He liked
Schaefer did?
Yeah, he liked it.
Oh, nice.
He was searching
Love
his
it.
own name. No, that was awesome. So, we might have to clip some Tkachuk, but little 4-game pack today on Friday. It's not a game. It's not a slate that I absolutely love goals. No Hudson assists. Sorry, everyone who was looking for it. I know there were a lot of you out there. JP stacking his own things. He's going Johnson, Robertson, Hertl, and Dorofeyev. That's the only one. That's interesting. That's I was looking at that one. That's basically the only one that correlates in that game. But let's try to find some value in other places. Philly and the Islanders, 2 teams who, if you bet on Hockey Daily, they're hard teams to lock down and find out what they are. Frustrating teams. Philly played yesterday. The Islanders only a minus 140 favorite at home, over under sitting at 5.5. Noah Dobson out 24 minutes, PP1. You just got to get his replacement because, as we say always in hockey, books don't just immediately change their point totals to what their role is. And Ryan Pulock for a point here at plus 145. Yes, it's a defenseman, but you never know what you're getting out of Philadelphia, who has the worst goaltending in hockey, and it could be Ivan Fedotov and his .868 career save percentage in the NHL in a low sample. But the Islanders, right? Massive blow. Dobson out. He was 24 minutes, PP1. Pulock moves into that PP1 role. Should go from like 20 to 24 minutes, which isn't priced in. We were shitting on their power play, Carlo, but they've scored 3 goals over their last 3 games. If you want a Pulock power play point, plus 575. Like that's a big number versus Philly, who can give up goals. I know you're a big power play point guy. Tippett, Frost, Konechny's plus 375, but I'll warn you, after a 5-1 loss last night to the Rangers, not sure what Torts is going to do with that line. It could get blended up, so I wouldn't be throwing it down. Talk to me about defensively and everything that goes on with promoting up and everybody having to step up on a roll for this New York Islanders blue line crew who, like I said, you got to replace someone who's eating 24, 25 minutes a night.
Yeah, that's not an easy task, but this Islanders team has found some they found some luck lately, right? They've won their last 2 games, doing it in low scoring fashion. Prior to that, they were on a mini 2-game losing streak, but prior to that, they were winners of 3 in a row, and they'd been missing some guys in their lineup during that 3-game win streak. So this team, for some reason, finds a rallying cry when they miss guys in the lineup. And look, Dobson is not an easy person to replace. He's a big, he's an every situation type of player for the Islanders. Power play, penalty kill, offense, defense, last minute, whatever you name it. So it's going to be a collective effort. Someone's going to have to take over the majority of it, and Pulock's going to be that guy. And even their power play has been some kind of on fire lately too. They've scored in back-to-back power play games, and this is a team that owns the worst power play percentage in the league. So
sometimes a change helps, though, does it not?
Yeah, it does. It does. They've got 3 power play goals in their last 3 games. So there's something to look for in that. They lost to the Flyers 3 games ago, 5-3. So maybe there's a little bit of a revenge factor. Like the line of the game isn't necessarily factoring in that Dobson is playing. The Islanders are still minus 145 favorites at Sports Interaction. So
seems a little short.
Yeah. I know Philly's on a back-to-back, but I don't know. It's tough to handicap this one, but the Islanders, they're finding a way to stay alive. Yeah. Even though things may seem doom and gloom over there.
Jared King points it out for us. Tippett, Konechny, Matthew Barzell. Matthew, if you spelled Matthew with 1 T, I think that's weird. Anders Lee and Bo Horvat. That's the triple stack. If Torts keeps that line together, plus 1,400. This game could be 2-1 or 6-5. Like it could be one of those. It could be one of those Friday night interesting Philly games, because that's what you get with Philly. If Philly's in control of this game and dictates the pace, which you don't get to do as much on the road, it's a boring hockey game to watch. They're not.
So the total in their last 10 meetings is 2-8
to the under,
favoring the under.
Yeah,
and the total in this game is 6.
Could be. You don't know.
But like, high, no?
I don't think you're going to get a 5.5 point total when your starting goalie's Ivan Fedotov. I don't think you get that benefit. He might be one of the worst. He might be the worst goalie in the league.
Yeah.
I don't know. Urson played yesterday. But hey, sometimes Torts does go back-to-back with his guys because he has no faith in his backup, and that's why Philly was running with 3 goalies for a long time. Jump over to the chat. What's everybody saying? Sharks Preds double, 8-banger hit last night. Yes, it did, Brian. It was great. Who pulls their goalie first? JPC fourth with a great question. Who pulls their goalie first? Torts or Patty? Interesting game to see. But yeah, I think 145 is a good price here for Pollock, who takes over that PP1, that is scoring now, that wasn't scoring before, and gets a good offensive matchup versus Philly in a coming off a blowout loss yesterday. Tampa Bay, Chicago plus 195 home dog versus the Bolts, over under sitting at a Friday high 6.5. Some interesting line stuff. I mean, trying to get Bedard and Bertuzzi in this. Bertuzzi stacked a double is plus 190. It's not a bad single double, but I think in this spot, just go add the Kucherov line, which is now Kucherov, Hagel, and Cirelli. Maybe double check and wait, because they should have a morning skate today because they didn't play yesterday. But just make sure that that's where they are with that line before we get down on it. The trio is just plus 125. And like I said, the Bedard Bertuzzi's plus 190. Cirelli, power play point, because they've messed up the power play units. Kucherov is pulling the Ovi and going double shift on the power play. Cirelli power play point is plus 575. And because it's Chicago, it could be a Jonas Johansson game for the Bolts. So that's why we're sitting at 6.5. Interesting to see where we have in terms of this lineup. So I really want to wait before I get that down, but I'm going to put it there. I'll tweet out if anything changes. I mean, 2 conferences game. John Cooper was talking about how sometimes you play good hockey, but you don't come away with the results with Tampa Bay. Where do you lump Tampa Bay in the mess in the East? Are they in that bottom half, or do you kind of put them in that top third tier? Because I bet Andy Francis at like 99.5 points over under, and I think I'm losing that bet. But
I still think Tampa's a really good team. So 99.5, you need 47 points in the next 36 games.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's a tricky one. I would prefer to be on the under in that one.
Yeah.
They're just, I mean, Tampa, they're a hard team to read right now because they have really good players. They still have Vasilevsky in net, but Vasilevsky hasn't been playing like Vasilevsky we know.
Yeah.
And, they're losing to teams like Montreal when they have a 2-0 lead on them. And I still think they're a good team. I still think they'll make the playoffs. But you say like upper echelon, I mean, they have the 14th best record in the NHL right now. So I'm going to say no, they're not at that yet.
So they're closer to Columbus, let's say, than who's sitting in the 7? Who's sitting in the, I don't know,
Boston.
Okay, so yeah, all right. Do you think? But they're both awful too, right?
I mean, if you look at this cluster, okay, if you had to choose between Boston, Tampa, Columbus, Rangers, Ottawa, Montreal, Flyers, Detroit, Tampa's one of my top 2 teams.
Yeah, right now it's Toronto. All right. So the outlier, I think, within that is Florida. Do you think they're closer to Florida or closer to Columbus?
I think they're closer to Columbus right now.
Oh, dang, that hurts.
Well, I mean, like the stats show it, right? I mean, they're not a good road team. They're 10-12 on the road. They're a really good home team, 15-6. They're an inconsistent team.
Yep,
right?
They are. And it's showing with their line juggling. So they've lost 2 games in a row. So expect maybe some line movement. Wait to see what they get. Tampa is probably worse than the Blue Jackets. Oh, that is a really good question to see where they are, because they're not Toronto. I don't think they're Florida. They're not Washington. They're not Carolina. They're not New Jersey. And then that's where it starts to find out where are you after that precipice of actually decent teams. So we'll put this up. Like I said, tread with caution, because They've lost 2 in a row, so they could do some line juggling. But I want to add Bedard and Bertuzzi to that top line Kucherov if they line it. If it goes Point and Gensel, if they go back to it, that's what I want. But this is going on the record. We'll take that. Plus 600 in a game that could see some goals. Utah, my new favorite team in the world, and it's not because of Cooley and Gunther. It's because of Michelli and Barrett effing Hayton, who has multi-point games in 3 of his last 4. This stack has hit, and this stack is hot. This stack already stacked against Winnipeg 2 games ago in that 5-2 win. Winnipeg minus 220 over-under sitting at 5.5. Should be a Connor Ingram start after Utah played yesterday. Going into blanking Minnesota, when you get Kaprizov back, when you get Spurgeon back, like you've been in those games where you quiet the barn. How good does that feel when you just shut down a pretty raucous barn that they have in Minnesota?
Yeah, that was a surprise result for me. Not just the fact that they won, but they shut out Minnesota, considering most people thought that they were going to get a boost with those 2 guys coming back in the lineup. But that's why the NHL is the hardest league to win games in, right? I mean, any night you don't show up, any team can beat anybody. And Utah right now, they're on a little bit of a run, playing some good hockey.
Yep, and we're hitting Michelli and Hayton. Throw it up, Mick. 500, 1 unit. Boom. Back on it.
They've won 3 in a row. They've scored 13 goals in those 3 games. They beat Minnesota, Winnipeg, and St. Louis, all teams that are pushing hard for playoff spots. You got to like what you see out of Utah right now. Got some good mojo going there.
They do got some good mojo. 4+ goals in all 3 of those wins. Minnesota, Winnipeg, St. Louis, as you mentioned. Even their loss before that, they scored 3 goals. Hayton has multi-point games in 3 of his last 4. The stack is hit in 3 of those 4. Getting the stack at a better price than last night just because of the back-to-back and facing Connor Hellebuck, who they lit up.
Yeah, they lit up a couple days ago.
2-point parlay. 50-1, bud. 50-1.
Oh, for Michelli and Hayton?
Yeah.
What's been their stats as of late? Have they gotten any 2-point games?
They were a Michelli point yesterday away from it.
So let's go Michelli.
There you go. That one. And I think there's another spot. I think Winnipeg returning from Colorado is a tough spot coming off that big win. I mean, they're probably not looking at this game at all, but obviously a tough spot. Interesting to see what happens with the lines in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Because Iafallo was on the top line. They moved Velarde down to the 3rd line, but they put him back later in the 3rd, so we'll see what the skate is. But I think I like the Michelli Hayton, 500, take it. But I think you can get one more in here. You can get the double-double. You can get the Schmaltz, Keller, Scheifele, and Connor for a pretty decent plus 375. I like it. I like this one. Like it's a little buffet. It's a little Utah buffet in this spot. We're not putting all our eggs into just the Michelli Hayton line. Joe Osborne, back on. My 1-0 hot streak comes to an end last night. Joe, you're still up. 1-1 plus money on the first one. Not a problem with that.
Yeah, should have bet the under last night, not Ottawa.
Ooh, that was 1-0 with the empty net goal. Morgan Geeky. That's the only line you can look at right now. The Pasternak line's kind of been on fire. What do we got? Tanner saying tough look for Minnesota. Absolutely. Hall saying, I just don't think they can go 4 in a row in Winnipeg. But I said last night versus Mini too. Yeah. It's a good point. They're kind of playing with house money right now.
The game that Utah beat Winnipeg was the game that Arneal came out and absolutely destroyed his team for playing the worst game he's ever seen them play all year. So that's probably going to be in the back of their mind this game. I know Winnipeg's coming off a big win in Colorado earlier in the week, but when a coach calls you out against a certain team, there's going to be a reminder from the coach saying, guys, remember last time we played these guys, show them a little bit more respect. Make sure we're at the top of our game.
Yeah. Yes, hit that like button. Appreciate that, Pete. Hit that like button, you pumpers. Friday. Got to send us off on a good note. Over. I be saying the over 5.5 in this Winnipeg game, minus 120. I wouldn't be surprised if it ticked up. If it closed, maybe minus 125, maybe some sixes out there. But I like it. I like that game. I like that game, and I like the Tampa Bay Chicago game for goals. Talking to Andres Sanchez saying, if you add Cooley, I don't want Cooley. I'm just going to go double there. I'll keep the guys who have always played together, and that's Keller or Schmaltz. Cooley's a Gunther guy. I don't add him anywhere else. He's got his bow, and that's Dylan Gunther, who's out. So not doing that. Just like Michelli and Hayton. Keep those guys together. Can Winnipeg be comfortable? 7. It's ahead. What's that? I don't understand that. Click. Points. Okay. Now I'm just reading things off. I'm not even understanding them. What does producer Mick say? Oh, God. The Will Ferrell character who just reads everything.
Oh, Ron Burgundy?
Yeah. I'm Ron Burgundy. Yeah, that's what I do with the chat sometimes. I try to read it. I have no fact checking or pre-reading before. It just goes right out my lips. So anything you put in there, it goes right on there. But I mean, I would have loved to have a day where we had perfect stacks for 4 games, but I just don't see it, right? So we didn't really touch on the Vegas game because that could be a low-scoring game. They use Sergei Samsonov, you idiot, Josh. Ilya Samsonov. I was a big Bruins. I was a big Sergei Samsonov fan growing up. That's why. Yeah. Big Serg fan. Cheestov fan. I was a big Cheestov fan.
Stanislav, played against him.
He came from Russia and got some run with the Georgetown Raiders in the junior B team when he showed up, which was interesting. They also brought old Sidney Crosby for a tour down here in Georgetown, and I think he used that as leverage. But
really,
yeah, hotbed of junior B hockey. The Raiders, pal. Look out. Where'd you play your junior hockey? You went from what?
I went from Mississauga Senators GTHL to Erie Otters OHL. I didn't play junior A.
Oh, big dog. Big dog.
I wasn't good enough to play junior A.
That's okay. We get you. You've done well for yourself, pal. You've done well for yourself. All right, let's win some money today.
I love that idea.
I like it. There's very few things better than waking up and being up multiple units. Not like multiple units, like an extra digit. It was which happened last night. So appreciate everybody there in the chat. Friday's a wrap. We keep going. 4-pack tonight. Let's get some goals. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Carlo Colaiacovo. This is NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction. Hit that like button on the way out and share for the winners. Let's go.
Have a great weekend, folks. Ciao.